Welcome and good morning to our very first podcast and YouTube episode of HYPECAST, and we really hope that you'll enjoy your morning here with us, or afternoon or evening, whenever you're watching, and I really hope that you'll find what we're going to talk about today quite useful, and I really hope that you'll enjoy it. If there's any questions, anything you guys want to ask, please drop us a comment down below and we'll answer that as soon as we can. Right, so on today's podcast we are looking at why we are doing this. It's just a bit of an introduction because I've got my lovely wife here, Henriette. Hello. And she who runs Hype Lettings with me, and together I would like to feel we're a very formidable team here in Stoke-on-Trent, and everything that we do here is sort of family based, and we try and run a company that is very centered around, we believe we've got two clients. One is the tenant and one is the landlord, and we try and keep everybody happy. Obviously that's not always the case, but we try and do it as often as we can. So just a little bit about ourselves. We used to have a company called Robinson Lettings. We then merged with a company called HIM, and from there me and Henriette decided, well, it's time that we go off on our own, and sailed off into the sunset, and Hype Lettings were born. So and that's why you will see a lot of me and Henriette on our website, on Facebook, Instagram, where else are we? LinkedIn, places like that. So why HYPECAST, I hear you ask? Well, the reason for that is because just last week and this week alone, we've had a good 13, 14 investors that came to our offices with questions about specifically Stoke-on-Trent, where we operate, where we do our lettings, and asking us questions about the area. Why is this a good area to invest? What properties to look at, this, that and the other thing. So that's sort of, some of those questions that they ask are really good questions, and we just felt that it's really helpful if we put that out there for you guys, and so you guys can see what Stoke's got to offer. So how often will this be? Well, we're going to try and get 2 of these out a month, so we're going to cover a wide range of topics and things that we feel is relevant to letting specifically, and specifically Stoke-on-Trent. So a lot of the topics will be based around what Stoke has got to offer, because we'll get the council down and tell you about the stuff that they offer in regards to, just the top of my head, empty home grants, where the council will give you money to refurb a house if it's been empty for longer than 6 months, or if you're a current landlord, they will give you money to refurb your house. How amazing is that? So we're going to cover all things like that in a bit more detail. So what are the topics that we're going to cover? So the first one is why Stoke is a good area to invest in. Henriette, I know you want to say something about that.
Yes, there's a lot of reasons why people should invest in Stoke. There is a good starting point is there's a lot of money being pumped into the area to develop areas that is in desperate need for that, and obviously with that it attracts other investors as well. Obviously many of the big distribution centres are here, we've got the universities here, but yeah, there's many reasons to invest in Stoke, and there is a great need also for especially single-lets. We have a massive amount that is needed. There's way more tenants than what we can fill with, so for that reason definitely a good place to invest. And it's cheap, you can get a nice
yeah, it's cheap. So another question we get, which is obviously a big one for investors, is what do you guys do to protect my investment and the people who live in that investment? What are you doing to make sure that they look after that property? So that's another topic that we will delve into, of what we do here at Hype, how we make sure that tenants toe the line, well, we try to in any case. Some tenants just will not listen to any rhyme or reason, but unfortunately those people are about, and I suppose that is part of the risk in having an HMO, for example. But but we try and minimise all that risk to as much as we can. Another one which we get asked a lot is around HMO regulations and compliance. For that, I am 100% getting the HMO officer down here to come and tell us, so you can get it straight from the horse's mouth, about what he will be looking at when you do an HMO conversion. So whether that is taking a 3-bed terraced house, turning it into a 5-bed terraced, or converting the loft and making it a 6-bed, to take all that information, and he will tell you exactly what he will be looking at and to guide you through all of that. Like I said before, empty homes grants. A good friend of mine, Tim Bagley, will be here to come and tell you all about that. And then I think the biggest thing, like I said, we are Stoke based and we are now branching out into Crewe. But Henriette will talk to you about, every month, give you a monthly update as to what happens in the market.
Yeah.
Anything you want to say around
that? Well, as and when things come up, it does change. It's obviously seasonal, but we can give you updates as time goes on. Yeah, I'll definitely do that.
So Henriette will be looking at what areas works for HMOs, what areas doesn't, what areas used to work for HMOs and doesn't anymore, what rents can be achieved, what are we looking for in an HMO, what are we looking for in a single let, those sort of lovely things. Then personal stories. I think this one is a very big topic really for us, because at the end of the day, without investors coming to us, entrusting us with their investment, we wouldn't have a job and we wouldn't have a business. So we are definitely going to get one or two of our investors on here, because one of them, and I know Henriette's going to talk about that just in a second, has got quite a bit of a story to tell.
Yes, I wish I could sit here and tell you as soon as you give us your property, it's just smooth sailing and there's never going to be any problems. Unfortunately, it is not always the case. We wish it was, but would be, but it's not. There are unfortunately some stories that definitely is not great to hear or be involved with. We're at present dealing with a tenant that passed all the checks, and it's turned pretty much into a bit of a nightmare for the landlords. Unfortunately, there's lots of things that can be at play, and we can't really manage human behaviour. We try as much as we can, but so really, and to get through that, it's just really close collaboration between us and the landlord in trying to manage a situation that is not great, to be fair. So yes, I can't tell you it's always just going to be fantastic and no issues, but we do everything in our power to help the landlord and try and make good of a very bad situation that's potentially at play. So the thing is, you only really know what you're doing as soon as you've dealt with the bad bits along with the good bits, so that you know what actions to take should things go pear-shaped. So without going into too much detail, unfortunately that is the case, and unfortunately we occasionally have to deal with tenants that stop paying the rent, or we deal with tenants. And this is a whole different subject, but when you deal with human beings, mental health is at play as well, and sometimes that brings other issues, which is very difficult.
Especially now with COVID.
Especially now, we have seen, I think a lot of people has really struggled and suffered because of whatever has been at play. So there's so much to take into consideration. Nothing is just clear cut. So that's some of the trickier things that we're dealing with, but all we can do is, like I say, work closely with the tenants, with the landlord, and whoever else needs to be involved. So yeah, there's that as well.
Yeah. And then the last two things, and like I said, this is just a brief description of, so there's loads more topics we're going to touch on, but is inspections necessary? We get this question, not a lot, but we do get this question. Is inspections necessary on a house? Because, especially with people who've got student properties, because the tenants have signed a 12-month contract, so, nobody's going to move in and out of the property. So do I really still need every 4-month check, which is what we do here? But we'll talk around that, and then how about, and then what we do, how we send it out, and what it looks like. And then another thing that obviously lettings can't do without is, what does a refurb look like for a single let? How much rent can you then get in? How much refurb do you actually need to do to get good rent in? And all that sort of stuff. So that's just in brief what we're going to look at here at HYPECAST. I would like for you guys to really tune in, come and find us on YouTube, find us on all the other Spotify. Tune in. Like I said, we'll be doing 2 of these a month to keep you guys updated with current affairs. We are specifically just Stoke-on-Trent, but we're happy to help out and take calls from all over the country, really. I suppose lettings is lettings. So see you guys soon.
Bye.
Yeah.